morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. It's an honor and privilege to receive you today. Some of you are quite familiar. I remember we had a training of journalists, and some of you, I recall from that training, are present with us today. So it is prudent that occasionally, especially from time to time, we be in touch with the readership and the audience of your various platforms to communicate with them what the authority, that's the Food Safety and Quality Authority of the Gambia, is doing, and to update you on matters of concern. Because food is a very important commodity in life, and is one of the things that no one can do without. So meaning that it's a very important commodity that all consumers and all the public are consumers, and as a result, all consumers concerned needs to be checked and addressed. So the press briefing aims to actually address, I think you represent your readership, you represent your audience. So, and therefore, it's important to give them information that is very relevant, information that is very accurate, and also for you to ask questions that has been burning issues in your minds, in your readership, in your audience, and your viewers, particularly the social media platforms. And apart from just relying on rumors and relying on some of these social media posts, it's important to communicate with you directly so that through you, we can communicate to the rest of our consumers. And also the food business operators, because they need to have certain information that is very relevant to their trade. As introduction, the Food Safety and Quality Authority was established in 2011 through an Act of Parliament, and it started operations in 2013. So if you look at it, it is relatively young. So it's 12 years old this year in operation, and therefore it is a bit of a challenge to have it, fully functional. But nonetheless, it's the competent authority responsible for all food, and also we work with government and the private sector and international partners for us to be able to do this. Because if we don't, we cannot, because food impacts on almost all the sectors, be it tourism, be it agriculture, be it education, be it trade. So food is one of the major commodities that binds all of these sectors. And what is our mission? Our mission is to safeguard the health of consumers, ensure food safety at every level of the supply chain, and also position the Gambia as a regional leader in food safety. So it is very important to have this. With strengthened regulations, increased compliance, and strategic partnership, FSQA is building a safer and more resilient food system for everyone. That's our mission, and we set ourselves to achieving this. So now let's go to the briefing. What have we been doing? Over the past years, I would say dating back to 5 years, that's when I came here actually. FSQA has developed and gazetted series of critical food technical regulations that are relevant to our food value chain, which cover one of the most staple food that we consume, which is rice. It also covers maize, which is also another staple food that we use, groundnut, which is our main cash crop, alcohol. Some people might ask why, it's very important. Cashew, prepackaged food labeling. Prepackaged food labeling that has also been regularized. In addition to all of these, we also have the food fortification regulation, which is into force by making sure that some of the main staple foods are fortified with vital nutrients that are mostly lacking in our food and that are mostly causing some micronutrient deficiencies in our significantly targeted population, which is children and women, and of course the elderly now. We also have the registration and licensing regulation. Of course, we have to have a database of who we are regulating, and as a result, we came up with that regulation. So all these regulations have been developed over the past 5 years. And we also have plans to develop new regulations, which are various, particularly on packaging, food packaging. I'm sure most of you remember 5 years ago when we said that we are going to ban newspaper packaging on food. And I'm sure every press briefing or every press appearance I have, I'm reminded about that. The reason why is because we don't have the appropriate regulations and the appropriate alternatives for these practices. So, but we have plans to regulate them this year, and so that by hopefully next year, there will be enforcement of this regulation. We also have guidelines that are actually very, very important. We are developing guidelines, import-export guidelines, and other warehouse guidelines, storage guidelines, feed import and export. We also have guidelines for startup businesses, traceability, recall, all these procedures, guidelines have been developed for these. And also we have food retail businesses, guideline on food service establishments, which we are trying to actually copy, guidelines for food safe storage warehouses, recall and withdrawal procedures, PRPs, and also hazard guidelines. So these are all part of the guidelines that we developed to accompany our food control system, which is actually a regulatory function. So over the past, we have done what we do most, is inspections. Between 2023 to 2024, we have conducted 10,592 inspections, that is nationwide. Actually, we have decentralized, and I'll come to that later. And through that decentralization process, we are doing inspection all over the country, not only around the Greater Banjul area. And these inspections, a total of excuse me, a total of 5,971 in 2023, and 4,621 in 2024. What we have seen is a decline in terms of inspections, because what we have also started doing is risk-based inspection. So we identify where the risks are most present, and that's where we concentrate on our inspections, and where we have lesser risks, then we reduce the number of inspections. So as a result, it will also enable us to focus on other things. And of course, one of the reasons is also due to compliance, because over the years, most of the food business establishments are now complying. So meaning that we have lesser issues than before. We also recorded 400, and that is 2023 and 2024, we recorded 456 confiscations. That is coming now to enforcement. Confiscation cases resulting in destruction of almost, well, not almost, precisely 1,069 metric tons. So it's a lot of destruction that we have done in these 2 years. And these were all items that were identified as not fit for consumption and not suitable for even recycling. So in 2023, we had the highest year of confiscations, where we have 903 tons destroyed, which is also reflecting intensified enforcement efforts by the enforcement department, and also some of the sensitization of the food business operators, making them also compliant, like I said, increased compliance. So we also ordered, in the same year, we ordered 46 business closures, 100 improvement notices to non-compliant food operators between 2022 and 2023. So again, these are all enforcement efforts. And I'm sure over the years people have been wondering, what are we doing with enforcement? This is the amount of enforcement that we are doing. Now, partnerships. We continue to strengthen collaboration. Like I said before, without the partners, we cannot actually do our work. And our work is anchored on multi-sectoral approach. So we have partners, and we have cross-border partners as well. Because if you all recall, the sniper case that was reported years ago emanated from Kafunti. The practice was actually copied or spied from Kafunti and crossed the border into the Gambia. And up to now, if you look at most of our farming practices, they are copied predominantly from Senegal and brought to this country across the border. So therefore, what we have done in order to regulate or in order to curb some of these malpractices is to sign an MOU with the Senegalese authorities. We have an MOU that will allow us to work together with the Senegalese authorities when it comes to inspection, cross-border inspection, and enforcement activities. So, and this MOU is actually working, and we are trying even to extend that MOU with the Gambia, Fsqa, Plant Protection Service of Senegal, and Plant Protection Service of Pakistan. So we are working on that MOU also, because both Senegal and the Gambia import significant amounts of rice from Pakistan. So we also have our China-related protocols, which is this tariff-free or duty-free export of certain commodities to China. We have, in June this year, signed an agreement with China through the Minister of Trade, two important protocols. One is on groundnut and the other is on cashew nut. So we are also trying to work on and finalize on the mango protocol. We are looking at other issues such as pest management. That is what is delaying it, but we have completed these two protocols. And the Gambia will start exporting trade-free or tariff-free to China as soon as possible. And we are registering businesses for that particular export purpose. We also have agreement with the Plant Protection Services of the Gambia for SPS issues, particularly plant products related, inspection, certification, pest management, and even capacity development for both institutions in being able to carry our respective mandates. We also have agreement with the World Food Programme, because we all know that they provide certain basic food services to schools in particular. So we are concerned, and we want to make sure that every food that is provided to every child is actually safe for consumption. So we are monitoring the supplies, we are monitoring their food, we are monitoring their food warehouses. So that's the agreement we have with them to make sure that whatever food they are giving to our children actually in the schools is safe and is fit for consumption. And we are also supporting the suppliers who are supplying them. We monitor and we act accordingly. So, and in this we target about 170,000 vulnerable people, including first and school children, in this particular agreement or MOU. We also have recently signed an agreement with the Roots Project, which is supporting particularly small-scale farmers. So, and in it, we are going to have beneficiaries who are actually producers and some processors in the quality management, packaging, labeling, and so that we'll have them to market access, which is expanding into other international markets. So, which will eventually improve their incomes and reduce poverty in our communities. We also have an agreement with the Catholic Relief Services. So this agreement also is geared towards schools, is geared towards other humanitarian services that they are doing. We're monitoring their quality and their safety of the food that they are producing. And even in instances, we confiscate some of their food, and then we arrange for destruction because some of the food may not be fit for consumption. We also have an agreement, an MOU with the Ministry of Health. As you recall, in the very long past, the public health officers were actually doing food inspection. So before the initiating or before the coming into place of the Fsqa. So Fsqa took over those responsibilities. So it doesn't mean that we cannot work with them. So we go back and have signed an MOU so that at least with the competent and assigned and recognized and accredited public health officers can also carry the functions of food inspectors in the communities that they are present. So that will also increase our repertoire when it comes to inspections. Also the Gambia Police Force, because we are not an enforcement, let me put it this way. I think the director will know how to put that better. But we are not an arresting party. So as a result, we need the authority. We are not a prosecuting party. So I think that is at the hands of the Gambia Police Force, and they have the might, they have the wherewithal. So therefore we signed an agreement with them so that they accompany us in inspections where we expect some resistance, and also they accompany us in other areas on confiscation enforcement activities across the country. So wherever we go, we are supported by the police in making sure that we do our job accordingly. Now also, we do support small and medium enterprises and also agri-food businesses. How do we support them? One of the things is that we, in their registration, we lower their fee so that it can be affordable in the first place. And also we coach them, we mentor them, we coach them in the ways and manner in which they produce, in which they process, in which they package, in which they sell. So these are all very important aspects. And as a result, we have provided a series of coaching and mentorship to small agribusinesses to be able to meet the basic requirements and to be able to comply with market requirements for their products and services. So particularly in good hygienic practices and also HACCP application. These are also very important in making sure that the conformity assessment is actually in place. We also help them in market access and so on, and so many other ways that we actually support them. In market access, we also participate in trade fairs, and we support these businesses during these trade fairs. We inspect, we coach, we mentor them so that at least good hygienic practices are maintained in these trade fairs. And these trade fairs are mainly from the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, which is the bigger trade fair. But we have the Gambia Women Chamber of Commerce, and also this new startup Chamber of Commerce. I know we also have the Youth Chamber of Commerce. So we have so many chambers of commerce in this country. But we work with each and every one of them, and they also have some small trade fairs that they do. And even nowadays, it's trendy that some of these processors or some of these small-scale medium enterprises do organize their own trade fair. I think just a few days ago there was one at the Bamboo Garden Hotel. I didn't know, but I visited it actually because I'm always out there looking at what is happening. But these are good initiatives because it opens up market access to these processors and producers. Because without a market to sell, you are just producing these goods and you are constrained with actually exposing them. Also, we have this Pakistan Agri-Food Expo, International Expo, which is annually. I think this is the third year that is running, and the Gambia has been present from the last 2 years. That is when they started, because this is the third session. So, and we support businesses to be able to be registered in that food expo, exposing them to be able to have, for example, access to packaging, access to labeling, access to other processing machinery, which they would need to do to support their businesses. We support them in that, and also we support them through the Pakistani embassy in order for them to participate in Pakistan. So every year we take minimum 15 food businesses, but most of them SMEs. And last year we had only all 15 supported by the Roots Project to come with us to Pakistan. Under the regional leadership, the Food Safety and Quality Authority is highly recognized nationally and internationally. And we have positioned ourselves very well in the international arena. Why? Because we have served as coordinator, as supporter, not supporter, as advisor for Africa over the past 3 years. And as a result of the job that we have been exposed and the good job that we have done, we are now have been newly elected as the new coordinator for Africa, which is the Coordinating Committee for Africa. This puts us in a very privileged position, but also in a very challenging position, because we all know the complexities of Africa. So meaning that you have to coordinate most of their food safety standardization and guidelines is a very difficult challenge. But I don't think we are just giving it to us on a silver platter. It's because we have demonstrated leadership, we have demonstrated that we have capabilities, and we have the competence, and we have the team to deliver on these indicators accordingly. So as a result, starting November 2026, 2025 this year, the Gambia will be fully accredited as the CC Africa coordinator for the next 2 years, and renewable for another 2 years. As you all know, we have been nomads from the past 5 years. We have been moving from one place to another. We started in Westfield, if I remember very well. I think we started in Nan when we were newly functional. Then we moved to Westfield as our offices. We moved to Kotu, and then we moved to traffic lights, Caraba Avenue, and now we are here. We are acting like foolers and nomads. So actually we want to stop that. So over the years we have been trying to acquire at least a piece of land that will be able to build for our new head offices. So we have acquired, through the help of government, a piece of land in Cape Point, and we are mobilizing resources to be able to build that. Because when we do, the rents, the huge rents that we are paying as an institution, not getting enough resources, will be actually judiciously utilized in saving that rent and putting it into operational costs that we need so much, because we all need to improve on our food control systems. We also have been allocated regional land. Like I said, we are into really serious decentralization, regional presence, and moving forward, we have established offices in every region, and we just don't want a small office, we want a really standard office as efficient and functional as our head office. So as a result, the governors have accompanied us, and thanks to them, we have been giving allocated land in almost all the regions. We are also in the process of developing one of the most important tools of management, which is the strategic plan. So this is our fourth strategic plan since the inception of the Fsqa. So we have engaged SMD to actually develop this strategy plan for us with support from the AU, African Union support through the AU-IBA, and they will support us to make this strategy plan a document that is of integrity, that is of efficiency and performance-based. And we expect by November, December this year. This plan will be accompanied by a robust M&E framework with costing to ensure performance, because that is what we aim at, to become a performance-based institution, not just an activity-based institution or a repulsive or impulsive institution that will just act or react to events or to news.